Yo, what's poppin', MVP gang? It's your boy, PraviMVP, back with another certified banger. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the offensive and defensive consistency, breaking down all the details on how these underrated stats impact your gameplay. This video idea came straight from the comment section, so if you got something that you want to see, drop it down below. Your suggestion could be featured in the next video. Before we even jump in, finesse that like button right now. Keep real talk alive in the algorithm, and coming soon and may be available right now as you're watching the video. You can now support the channel directly by becoming a member or through super chats. Let's keep leveling up together, featuring brand new gameplay straight from the proving grounds, uncut, raw, and unedited, so you can see the truth. This is the ultimate breakdown, and you don't want to miss it. Let's get into it. See, offensive consistency is one of those under the hood stats that too many players overlook. But trust me, it is critical for maximizing your build's performance on the offensive end. This stat directly impacts everything: shooting, passing, movement, and finishing. It determines how RNG, random number generation, which 2K got it riddled throughout this game, works in your favor, and can be the difference between a slightly early and a perfect green, or between a wild pass and a pinpoint dot. First, I'm going to show you where to find it, and then we going to break it all down. Let's get into it. So, you just pull up your My Career right here. As you can see, you go straight down where you see stats. You click that. Then you R1 on PlayStation, or the little R button on the top on Xbox. Slide right over. Then you click in your right stick. Boom. Then you're going to hit to the right a couple times till it boom. That's what you want to see. Once you get here, these are all your under the hood stats, so you can see the details of your build. Like how I tell y'all, passing gives you 3 extra attributes that match it. You can see it. Your passing is going to represent your hands, whichever one is higher between the ball handle and your passing. That's what your hands is going to represent. So you got to have one or the other if you want to be a good shooter. And here you go. As you can see, this build in particular has a 94 offensive consistency, which is my lockdown launcher. And the reason I'm showing him, because he has the best balance of all my builds. He has a 94 offensive consistency. My perimeter punisher has a 97, and Snag Mahomes has an 86. So then as we go down, you see he got a 92 defensive consistency. So this is made up of your attributes of how you assemble them. But we're going to get into all of that. My Snag Mahomes has an 86 offensive consistency and a 99 defensive consistency. And then my perimeter punisher has a 97 offensive consistency with a 86 defensive consistency. So now that we didn't cover that, we're going to go ahead and get into the breakdown. Picture this. You're running baseline and the defender's positioning is close. Your offensive consistency might be the reason you draw a foul instead of getting called for a charge. The higher your offensive consistency, the more favorable outcomes you'll see in key offensive situations. It's all about giving yourself that edge and letting your build shine consistently, no matter the situation. In NBA 2K25, offensive consistency is a critical attribute that influences a player's ability to maintain high-level offensive performance throughout an entire game. A higher offensive consistency rating means a player is more likely to perform well offensively on a regular basis, affecting aspects like shooting accuracy, precision, and overall scoring reliability, or just overall play creation. The player with higher offensive consistency, it really determines who's the first option, the second option, third option, just because of how many things will be playing in his factor. Like say you got shooting boosts on top of that. On top of having a high offensive consistency, on top of having all your badges, on top of having all your lethals. This is the difference in having those big greens where it's easy to go. It's easy to go perfect from the field. When you have a high offensive consistency, you do not have to miss a shot. It's on you. Because once you make that first shot, that offensive consistency works almost like a green machine effect. It allows you to keep hitting shots back to back to back. The lower your offensive consistency, for those who don't take up the correct attributes, or just take up enough offensive attributes, That is what's going to have you. That's going to give you more slightly earlys and slightly lates. The impact on gameplay. Shooting accuracy. Players with high offensive consistency are more likely to hit those shots consistently. It's going to reduce the variability in the shooting performance. It's going to give you more consistent animation. So you see less of them speed ups and less of them drops and stuff like that and fumbling around. Yo, dude, get more favorable animations. I've played this game for years, and I'm telling you, my players with higher offensive consistency, they always are the best performing offensive players. It's not even close. This can be the difference between a slightly early release and a perfect green. Passing precision. A higher rating can lead to more accurate passes, decreasing the chances of errant passes and increasing the likelihood of successful assists. Them hot and cold streaks. As I told you, that offensive consistency is going to affect how a player can keep making shots and how long they can maintain that hot streak. And conversely, it also influences the duration of cold streaks and prevents them. It's very hard if you got a person with high offensive consistency. So I've never had a cold ring this entire year. Never. Not one time have I ever had a cold ring ever on any of my builds. And that's because I'm aware of this under the hood stat when I'm creating my build. So I always aim for all of my builds, no matter the position, to have over an 85 offensive consistency. Like I said, the lowest is Snag Mahomes, and he got an 86. My perimeter punisher got a 97, and this build has a 90 plus offensive consistency and defensive consistency, which is the lockdown launcher. All the builds are already on my page. All you got to do is look for them. Achieving higher offensive consistency is all about how you build yourself up in the builder with your offensive attributes. That's why the cheaper ratings to max out are smart to do so. Get as much in that thing as you can while still having the core values of what you want in your attributes. But the cheaper ones like free throw, that is why you always see it maxed out on my builds. Because the more attributes you have in the offensive category, they're going to play an important role in boosting your offensive consistency. Like I said, the perimeter punisher got the highest of all of my builds with that 97. With just 5 or 10 more offensive attributes, he could have a perfect 99 offensive consistency, which I'm on the fence about that because with the 97, I mean, I'm doing what I need to do. I'm more concerned on just making him better defensively because he's really not out here missing shots or struggling from the field. So a 97 is, I mean, anything over a 95, I mean, that you're good money. I mean, but a 99, trust me, my build from last year that I tried to make the perimeter punisher based on, he had a 99 and I was shooting 79% from three. So I'm just saying, like that it literally matters, especially if you're a high efficiency player who takes smart shots and you don't really force shots. Having a high offensive consistency gonna play into that because no matter when you take your shots, because you have a high offensive consistency, you are consistent. You're always ready. Like I said, it makes you a number one option, even if your team is not feeding you like a number one option. So when you in the builder, just remember it's important to try to maximize your defensive consistency. It's not the end. It's not the end all. I don't want you to think it's the end of all, but it's one of those under the hood stats that matter. It matters to how your build performs on the floor. I am telling you. It's important to note, while offensive consistency is a significant factor in a player's performance, it is one of many attributes that contribute to the overall success in NBA 2K25. Balancing this attribute with others such as defensive consistency and specific skill areas will provide a more well-rounded, effective player build. But don't sleep on the defensive consistency either. It is just as critical on the other end of the floor. Defensive consistency is one of those under the hood stats that players often overlook as well. But trust me, it's just as important as its offensive counterpart, if not more important, because the easiest way to score on 2K for years, literally for years, has been defense. Even more so this year with the defense moving faster than the offense. This stat directly impacts your build's ability to maintain effective defensive performance throughout the game. From contesting shots to forcing turnovers, defensive consistency ensures your defensive actions are more reliable and impactful even under pressure. My Snag My Home build, as I tell you, it has a 99 defensive consistency. Now, picture this. Your opponent is driving straight at you. The game is on the line. A high defensive consistency rating might be the reason you force a contested shot instead of giving up an easy bucket, because it's going to affect that animation that's going to generate. It could also make the difference between clearly poking the ball loose versus committing a foul. The higher your defensive consistency, the more likely you are to deliver favorable outcomes in key defensive situations. It's all about staying locked in and making your defensive presence felt consistently, no matter the matchup. It gives your build the ability to have that consistent defensive impact game to game, where you experience little to no drop off to the game, regardless of the opponent. A player with high stick skill and high defensive consistency will be a menace for opposing offenses. He will have a Deion Sanders type effect when you pair it with a high steal. Teams gonna avoid going your way. If you see my video about breaking down on the guard tips, you'll be able to, like, the defensive guard tips to lock down. You'll be able to see what I'm talking about that Deion Sanders effect. When you know how to read the court and you got a high steal and high defense, over a 90 plus defensive consistency, they can't throw your way, bro. They're gonna have to. He gonna have a high pass and catch you, like, after you done already reached or something, because it's going to get picked off every single time. You instantly become a playmaker on defense when you got a high steal and a high defensive consistency. Centers like Snag Mahone have the ability to completely shut down the other team and guard all five positions, especially with the right pieces around him. I have a gameplay where I was actually paired with some comp guards, and I could just do my job as far as just playing, bro. When I'm telling you, when I've got good pieces around me, Snack Mahomes can't. It's very hard when everyone, when the rest of my team is doing their job, switching as they supposed to, sliding over. It's very hard to score. It's because of how fast he is. He's not slow whatsoever. He is extremely fast to be a 7-footer, to the point I can press the guard coming up court with the guard. Like, we can be pressing him coming up court, and I can run back to my man with no problem and take away the paint. I can do that every single possession. I just have to have the right team. Impact on gameplay. Shot contest. Players with higher defensive consistency are more likely to force missed shots on contests, even when slightly out of position. You get more blocks and you get favorable block animations like the snatch block we all love to see. I'm telling you, or you could just put your hands up and it's going to give you more favorable animations as far as you standing upright, you bumping your opponent, how you slide your feet. Pay attention when you got. I'm telling you, if you got a low defensive consistency build, make one with higher defensive consistency and tell me if you don't see the truth. And the key to having higher defensive consistency is in the attributes. When you picking them, pick the ones that are cheaper to fill up. If you can sacrifice 1 or 2 attribute points on something like a 3-pointer or a driving dunk, which y'all be goofy for that, putting it all the way up, but you got no interior. Makes no sense, because if you were to sacrifice 3-4 points of dunk and and then keep your, because I keep my and then keep your vertical, especially as a guard, in the 60 somewhere. And all I care about is Devin Booker dunk style and the quick drops. That's 80-60. That's what I use on my guards, 80-60 or lower, because it's not as necessary as far as the impact on the game that you can have if you maxed out your interior defense and maxed out your block on the guard. That is what stops you from being a backdoor liability, and it's going to also have your defensive consistency way through the roof, having a bigger impact versus you putting just 2-3 points on your dunk and, like, what, 10 points worth of vertical, which ain't gonna help your offensive consistency that much. See, y'all building y'all builds wrong in the builder. That's where the problem starts. You have all these offensive attributes and then you can't even use them right because you coming in. Most of us are not playing with set teams, so ain't nobody gonna play to whatever you thought your offensive strengths was, and most people don't have good efficiency. So the best thing you can do is invest into defense, but we got a lot of people skipping on it, and then they got low defensive consistency and wonder why you easily getting blown by, wonder why you cannot stop a cut. You wonder why when your dude get in the dude's way to try to cut him off from getting to the basket, you like, man, I got off ball pass on goal. It doesn't matter when you got low defensive consistency. That's why he's still getting by. That's why when a dude hit you with a dex, you way over there because you got low defensive consistency. That's why it's so easy to score on you. You have to improve your defensive consistency because it's what's going to make your defensive attributes and badges work properly. It's like a boost to them. It's It's the RNG effect, bro. It's the slider effect, whatever they want to call it. Oh, it makes the sliders that they have it set to play into your favor. That is a under the hood stat that matters. And it even affects the defensive rotations. A strong rating helps maintain awareness and effectiveness when switching or rotating, and it reduces the breakdowns. You will notice your my player will move his head. You will see him look at players like he has a higher awareness with a higher defensive consistency, and his body to the correct position without you having to switch a lot of times. Your my player has a higher sense of awareness and maintaining position to get those stops. That is my point. That is why it is an overlooked attribute, because it you don't realize that how much it impacts the game and how you're moving on the court until you make a build that actually has your defensive consistency and offensive consistency high, and then you will be like, he was right 100%. That was my problem with my defense, because I had a low defensive consistency, and it really doesn't work on this game. You're gonna get cooked with a low one. And the cold streaks for opponents. Just like offensive consistency can prolong your hot streaks, defensive consistency helps shut down your opponents, keeping them out of rhythm, forcing errors. This under the hood stat is what makes a defender an impact defender, changing momentum in games, because you're an actual real lockdown. A dude with over 90 defensive consistency, you a lockdown, bro. You are a playmaker on defense, because you're gonna be able to move around the defense, and your dude have an awareness as into what you trying to do. Because a lot of people are not, and it happens still sometimes on my builds, but not as frequently. Like, you try to move your my player to help, and then he just not aware of it. Like, he won't switch to where you trying to get him to. That is that is exactly what I'm talking about. That's your defensive consistency. When it's higher, your my player is more reactive. Point blank period. On the defensive floor, he knows, it seems to be as if he knows what's going on, versus the one with low defensive consistency. You try to move over, he won't even turn his head towards the man you want him to guard. That's what happens. How to increase defensive consistency? Like I said, focus on core defensive stats like perimeter defense, interior defense, agility, and block. Improving these can boost your overall defensive effectiveness, including consistency, thus placing RNG or the defensive sliders on the defensive side in your favor. Badges. Equipping badges like On Ball Menace, Anchor, and Challenger Brick Wall helps complement your defensive consistency by making you more effective on both perimeter and the paint. Brick Wall, one of the best badges in the game, if y'all don't know, because it affects offense and defense. It is an offense and defense badge. You can use it on both sides of the court. So it's always, I use it on +1 on dang near all my builds. All of them. All of them, I have a +1 on Brick Wall, because it's a two-way badge. Like, I don't want you touching me and feeling comfortable. It makes people not really want to run into you. Like, when you're trying to wall off somebody, brick wall and off ball pests combined together. Like, I'm telling you, it does, because I've played with brick wall not +1, and then having the same exact off ball pest, and it's easier to get by me. But when you put brick wall and off ball pest, like, they're both gold, or they're both Hall of Fame, or both, because I got one with, he got it on red and he got off ball on purple. That's the perimeter punish. You're not getting through him. It's just not happening. Like, cuts don't really work on him whatsoever, because he's just too strong. And that red brick wall with that Hall of Fame off ball, you really can't move. So these are what's going to make you more effective on both. And you got to, like I said, the ball off ball menace, anchor, challenger, complement your defensive. You need to equip them badges like off on ball menace, anchor, and challenger. This is going to help complement your defensive consistency by making you more effective on both the perimeter and the paint. You always want to aim to be versatile as a defender. To be considered an elite defender, you must be capable of getting a stop on all 5 positions, because that's the key of being a defender. If the game is on the line, can I trust you to get a stop on this man, no matter who it is? Can you put your hands up, get in position, and wall him off and make him miss a shot? That is the key to being a good defender. It's not about just the steals and blocks. It's about just getting simply stops. They're just the same as a turnover. If you make a dude miss and take a bad shot and your team is out, that is a turnover, bro. That is a turnover. Just a live ball. You get the rebound. It's live. Everybody's moving. A lot of times dudes foul and get you a free throw. You get the transition take foul plus the possession back. That's how you will win more games, and getting those stops. Making players inefficient matters, because if they drop 30 on 28 shots, Who cares? That is the whole point. Nobody's going to care that he did that. When you're building your my player, maximizing defensive consistency might not feel as exciting as focusing on scoring or flashy moves, but it is critical part of creating a well-rounded build. It ensures you can maintain high defensive pressure throughout the game, limiting your opponent's chances and making you a reliable force on both ends of the floor. Combine it with offensive consistency and you'll dominate games with balance and control. It puts you more in control of your my player. It puts you more in the favor of the sliders or the RNG, however it is set. Because 2K, when they do them little updates, they can mess with the sliders. They can mess with the RNG. They can change things. But when you got good offensive and defensive consistency, it puts you in a position where not that it won't affect you, it just won't affect you as much as people who deficient in either or area. At the end of the day, mastering offensive and defensive consistency is about setting your build apart from the competition. These under the hood stats might not grab the spotlight, but they are game changers that elevate your performance from good to elite. Whether you're scoring efficiently or with precision or locking down these opponents with relentless defense, these attributes make all the difference. Focus on building smarter, not just flashier. Balancing offense and defensive consistency will give you a competitive edge. Game after game, no matter who's standing in the way. Now that you got the tools, it's time to hit the court and prove why you the MVP. All right, MVP gang. That's a wrap for today's breakdown on offensive and defensive consistency in NBA 2K25. If this video helped you level up your game or gave you new insights, make sure you hit that. Make sure you finesse that like button and subscribe to join the MVP game. Don't forget to drop your video suggestions in the comments. Your idea could be the next banger that we drop on this channel. And remember, you can now support the channel directly with memberships and super chats. Every little bit helps us keep bringing the heat. Until next time, it's your boy PraviMVP signing out. Keep grinding, keep shining, and I'll catch you in the next one. Blessings to the Most High. Peace.